It's time to put your health in your own hands. Get ready to learn from today's top health and wellness innovators and thought leaders on Optimal Health Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Mark STUTHEIT. He is a scientifically validated healer, and he has a long and successful professional career in marketing, client services, and information technology. Mark grew up on a remote family farm where he learned the value of hard work and the power and beauty of nature. Mark's early life was influenced by the loss of his father at the age of 10 and his own struggles with respiratory problems as a child. These early roots inspired him to become interested in natural health, holistic healing, and personal development. After pursuing various different healing modalities for many years, Mike's life was forever altered in 2012 when he met Guruji Mahendra Trivedi, founder of the Trivedi Effect. Through Guruji Trivedi's blessings and guidance, Mark experienced profound personal transformation on all levels. His desire to explore and understand his own innate healing abilities compelled him to join the Trivedi's Healers Mastery Program. Through his association with Guruji Trivedi, Mark developed his ability to harness and transmit the wealth of nature to living organisms and non-living materials known as biofield energy transmissions. Mark entered into the arena of science to validate his energy healing abilities, and his work has been published in many scientific peer-reviewed journals. Welcome, Mark.
Good afternoon.
It's really interesting to hear about your roots. Working in a farm and, of course, learning about the value of hard work and, of course, the power and beauty of nature. Can you tell me more about the Trivedi Effect and what it is?
Well, the Trivedi Effect is basically there's so many ways you can talk about it, and it's a hard thing to talk about because it's not something that we really have any experience with before in this world. But I guess one way to describe it is the transformation and potentiation of living and non-living things. Through the Trivedi Effect, everything is transformed in order to serve a better and higher purpose. Basically, what the energy transmissions do is connect people to their inner guidance system or the God of their understanding.
So when you say the God of your understanding, I know that seems like a really simple statement. Can you explain that a little bit more? Is it a religion?
It's not a religion. It's a very personal thing. And people benefit from the Trivedi Effect regardless of what their religious background is. It really doesn't matter, what their religion is or whether they're spiritual or not. It's a unique experience. It's unique to each individual, and there's no connection to any background or any religious practice, dogma, or any existing health condition. It just simply stands on its own. It's completely independent of everything.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the connection? So it's life force energy, and the energy with Mr. Trivedi, he's helping you to connect to the God of your understanding or nature or life force or source, however you believe that to be. Is this something that, do you have to ask this energy to do anything specific? Do you have to do anything special?
That's a good question. What those of us who have experienced energy transmissions for a long time have kind of got just taken for granted that it's so simple. But if you've never heard of it before, it probably takes a little bit of explaining. If you want to experience energy transmission and you sign up with a healer, then you just first you have to be in a room alone, all by yourself, very quiet, very calm. You want to be completely away from any distractions or any sidetracking, you just want to focus on yourself and your own needs and your own requirements for happiness. And then when the energy transmission starts, you can simply lie down or sit up with a straight spine, and you can begin the prayer to the God of your understanding. After a few minutes, you'll be asked to go in silence for 10 to 15 minutes to let the energy take effect.
When you say go in silence, does that mean can you walk around, or should you just lie there, or what does that mean, go in silence?
It definitely means just be silent and quiet for 10, 15 minutes. Most of the time we're asked to lie down or to sit quietly for 10 to 15 minutes to let that energy absorb.
That's interesting. So when you say a prayer to the God of your understanding, what exactly is that? Is there a special prayer? What is that? What does that mean?
Well, that's that's the question everybody has to answer for themselves. Whatever the God of their understanding is, that's who you want to pray to. It might be a tree, it might be nature, it might be some spiritual, it might be the whole universe, the universal consciousness. If you had a conventional religious background, it might be Jesus, it might be whoever your religion pointed you to. So that's a very personal thing.
So do most people have like general requests, like, dear God, please, have everything work out for my highest and best, or do people generally have specific prayers about a specific thing, or recommendations?
I really know that. I talk about my prayers when I first started, very first, maybe half a year. I was with the study group when I first got energy transmissions. I had several long-term problems that were bothering me. So naturally, that's what I asked for help with. At this point in time, what I usually ask for help with mainly is just to stay connected to the divine and to make sure that I'm maintaining that divine connection, because my thinking is as long as I have that, I can solve a lot of problems myself. So as your life goes on, I guess if you follow my pattern, maybe you won't. As your life goes on, your perspective changes, and that's what the STUTHEIT effect does more than anything else. It does change your perception and your perspective, so that you tend, at least in my case, I tend to pray for things that I think are bigger and more important than I did when I first started.
So you actually have been part of STUTHEIT effect since 2012, and you also joined the STUTHEIT Healers Mastery Program, and now you are a scientifically validated healer. What does that mean, and how do you work with people now?
Well, the scientific validation came from several experiments that were orchestrated by Mr. STUTHEIT. Laboratories in India presented various products to us, and we were asked to focus on them and ask God to bless them, and we did that. And I think the most important one in my case was the vitamin D. A vitamin D product was presented, and based on my request to the divine, the efficacy of that product was changed dramatically, and this was conducted under very rigorous scientific conditions.
Yes, I'm looking at your scientific results here, and it actually says that the research that you did on energy-treated vitamin D3 shows significant benefits for bone health, and one of them was bone mineralization increased by more than 230%, and 170% increase in ALP, which is a bone-specific enzyme, and then 100% increase in collagen levels. So this is all in that preclinical research in that science that you participated in. So that really is pretty phenomenal, and that was actually published in the American Journal of Life Sciences. And So really, if you think about that, the scientific validation is very unique. Are there very many healers in the world who have been scientifically validated for their healing abilities?
I doubt that, just because it takes so much money to conduct the research. Pharmaceutical companies have lots of money to conduct research. Other places tend not to have that much money. So for an individual healer to be able to, to try to pay for that kind of research, it would be very, very tough.
Wow. Well, it's really interesting because I know, some people, when you start talking about life force energy and biofield energy healing treatment, some people may not have even heard of it, but the National Center of Complementary and Integrative Health, the NCCIH, they've actually recognized and accepted bioenergy healing treatments as a complementary and alternative medicine healthcare approach, in addition to other medical therapies, medicines, and practices. So it is actually an accepted form of healing treatments, which I think that a lot of people don't even realize, that the National Institutes of Health and that there are actual places that have done tons and tons of research specifically on biofield energy. And then, of course, you're part of these actual experiments on these different, vitamins and different things like that. So that's that's really huge. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you might work with people or agriculture or pets, what they might expect if they were to work with you to receive some life force energy treatments or transmissions, whatever they're called? I guess they would be called transmissions because they're not really, you would do everything in conjunction with a medical doctor. And you're not a medical doctor, so it would be an energy transmission. So what would that look like?
Well, what people would do is they would go to my website. They would sign up for either like a transmission program, like maybe once a week for a while, or maybe once every day for a while. And then they would provide me with certain information about them. And then, the way the energy transmissions takes place is just the way that I explained earlier, where you sit in a quiet room at the expected time. You have to find out ahead of time, then the appointment comes. And then, we communicate by phone or by email, and at the time, then I will sit quietly and ask for the divine to connect to you. And then the thing is, it's every individual, from the people I have talked to and the people I've seen, every individual has a unique experience. Some people, they might see benefits immediately. Other people, the benefits might unfold over a longer period of time. The benefits, too, remember, can come in so many different areas. They can come in general health, emotional stability. They can come in improvements in sleep pattern. They can come in sexual satisfaction. They can come in relationships. They can come in finance. They can come in higher consciousness. So sometimes what you're looking for, you get in a different area, and it's just a very, very unique experience that everybody has differently. At the time of the energy transmission, I never felt anything, and a lot of people I know don't feel anything at the time. And sometimes the next day, you'll notice a change in your perception. Some people experience more energy transmission, lights, or they might hear something like that. I think for most people, it's a very quiet thing, and then you will probably see a change in perception or in mood or in. I think in my case, just very shortly after my first energy transmission, I saw improvements in my general mood, in my ability to focus, in my ability to avoid distractions, and most of all, in my sleep patterns. That happened. Those all happened quickly.
So when you said So you said that what you noticed immediately was a better sleep, and what was the other one about focus?
The very first thing I noticed was an improvement in mood and general outlook. And then as time went on and I kept getting more transmissions, and these other things didn't happen immediately, but they happened pretty quickly. Ability to focus was one thing. The ability to make decisions, because at that time in my life I was stuck in a kind of a seesaw. I couldn't make a decision about which way to go with my life, and this energy really helped me with that. And a change in sleep, more restful and more peaceful sleep. Those are the things where I saw improvements in.
So it helped you to have a better idea in your decision-making ability.
Absolutely. I'd been stuck in a pattern for a long time about which way to go, and it really helped me with that. It helped my general perspective and way of looking at my problems. Then eventually it started helping my sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know for me personally, the sleep, the first energy transmission that I ever received, I slept through the night, like all the way through the night for the first time in probably years.
Good for you.
And it was like, whoa. Yeah, it was really an interesting situation, because sometimes I don't think we realize how much sleep we're not getting until you actually do sleep through the night, and then you wake up and you're like, whoa, I mean, that's what you're supposed to have every night, and it's amazing. So you actually work with people with the energy transmissions, and you have a website. And what is the website address?
It's just my name, markstutheit.com.
Okay, so people can go to markstutheit.com, and I'll make sure to put the hot link into the show notes. And you have information there about the science and about you have testimonials, and then of course you have information about all the different programs available. And do you have any preference on the types of people whom you work with?
I do absolutely not. The only thing is that, people who would like to get help with the kind of problems that I had when I started, they a better outlook and perspective on their problems, sounder sleep. Anybody who wants to improve their life, I consider to be somebody that I'd like to deal with. Again, I think the general problem, the kind of problems that this kind of energy usually helps with is the sadness and the tiredness, the negative thoughts, the ADHD, the OCD, the mind chatter, the brain fog, poor decision-making, confusion, low confidence, low self-esteem, anxiety, fear of the future. I think I had all of those when I first started with STUTHEIT, because I was just going through a real bad time in my life. And so, anybody who has those situations in their life, I hope they give us a try, because it doesn't cost that much to try.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And I'm actually looking at your website right now. And again, you can go check out, there's all kinds of information there talking about the science. And again, there's only a handful of people around the world who are scientifically validated for energy healing, and you happen to be one of them. So that really is really, truly unique. And again, there's a lot of information about the science. And you've also, I see that you actually have a little bit, a blog post talking about your journey and how you found Mr. STUTHEIT. So that would be a really good blog post for everyone to go check out and read, to get a little bit of history about, what you were doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, Mark, thank you so much for sharing today. As always, I've learned a lot, and I'm really excited for people to reach out to you, to talk to you personally, to find out more about life force energy transmissions and how they might be helpful. Because obviously, it's one of those things where you need to find out for yourself what it's all about. And then once you learn about it, you just can expand and grow from there. So it's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you very much, Tammy.
Okay, thank you. Everyone, this is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to today's top health and wellness innovators and thought leaders on Optimal Health Radio. To get more solid health and wellness information, visit OptimalHealthRadio.com.